Welcome, everybody. I'm really excited to have with me here today Susan Kiamba. Susan, thank you so much for joining me.
It's amazing to be here.
Awesome. The power of the virtual worlds, right? You're over in Kenya right now. What time is it for you right now?
Just a little before 7 in the morning. So pretty early in the day for me.
Oh, that's good. You're better than me. I hope you've had your coffee. I'm not really a morning person, so
I definitely got my coffee kick in. So I'm all set. I'm now down to water until my next coffee round in a couple of hours.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to chat with you today. And for those of you that don't know Susan, Susan is a career coach. She's a corporate trainer and she's the founder of Unlock Your Career. And she works specifically with banking professionals. So the other thing I think is really worthy of mentioning you, Susan, as well, is that you are quite the networker and you have been able to grow your LinkedIn connections to now over 30,000 connections, which is no small feat. So it is amazing to have you here. And I'm really looking forward to diving into more about you, your story, and what landed you into the work that you do now. So thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. I am completely looking forward to this chat and just sharing more about my journey.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'd love for you to just maybe kick off with a little bit about yourself and I guess kind of the work that you were doing previously and what kind of led you towards actually launching your own career coaching business and deciding to head into business for yourself. And as you do that, I'm going to actually clear my glasses because I think the excitement from this conversation has fogged them up. So tell us a little bit more about your journey, Susan.
Okay, so interestingly enough, my career started in banking. So that's one of the things I have in common with my clients. I spent 10 years in the banking industry. And in many ways, I experienced the same pains that my clients experience. You go in with this glamorous idea of what a career is going to look like, how you're going to be a boss in a year, and then that doesn't actually work out. And you spend a lot of time trying to guesswork through one step to the next, to the next, to the next, and the next of your career. So I actually say for 7 of the 10 years I spent in banking, I was sort of going around in circles trying to figure out what to do to get forward and to move ahead. And it wasn't until I got support through a mentor and a coach that I actually broke through and made the leap that I had been trying to make all along. So that for me is something which I can relate, that feeling of being stuck, that feeling of I could be doing more, the feeling that I just don't know what that first step is. I know there's something I can do, but I don't know what it is, or there are so many things to choose from. And which one should go first? And how do I know I've actually made the right choice? So that's how I, without knowing, got into my line of work with career coaching. And the other thing that actually spiraled and made everything move much faster is, thank you, COVID-19 pandemic, that changed how we actually work. When we stopped meeting face to face, I found myself having very many career related conversations with people online. And that essentially skyrocketed something that I was doing on a small scale into a larger scale, where LinkedIn became my platform to actually share advice, tips, and even get clients who I now work with to get unstuck so that they can get that clarity and they can get that confidence to advance their career in the direction that they want. So it's been a roller coaster, Amy, but I wouldn't change anything that's gone on in the past couple of years.
That's fabulous to hear. And I think what I love about your story, which is maybe a bit similar or maybe different, depending on who's listening to this, is that you were your client back in the day, you know, when you were in that job. And so having been through that journey yourself and realizing the value of coaching to help yourself get unstuck, you're able to use your own experiences as well as the experience that you now have as a coach and a facilitator as well, to then help others in that same situation. So I really love that about your story and what sort of brought you into the work that you're doing today. And so in terms of banking professionals, like, what is something like specific in their industry? Because I think for some people listening to this, they can say, okay, well, you know, there's career coaches out there everywhere, right? But I think what's really unique and special about you is that you really understand that sector. So what is it specifically when it comes to that industry that might be a little bit different in terms of people's careers versus maybe other industries out there?
So one of the things I've found that affects many banking professionals is just learning how to play office politics. And people think office politics is this dirty word. We should totally not mention it. But the higher you go, the less it is about your ability to do your job and do it well, and your ability to actually get spoken about in all the right rooms. Because banking professional after banking professional, particularly those who are in operations, where I feel like careers go to die because you get stuck in this whole rote thing. You're always doing the same thing every day in, day out, nothing new. You have a document that tells you what to do at what time, how it should be done, and you never deviate from that. So I've found that, especially for those who are in operations, because I end up working with a lot of people in operations, it's knowing how to actually navigate your way through those murky waters and through those very tight, neat networks that exist within banking, where if you're not getting mentioned at a certain level, I'm sorry, it's going to be even harder for you to actually make it through. So it's just navigating those office politics and specifically knowing who you need to be talking to at which stage and how to actually break through based on that. And doing that delicate balance where people are going to be saying, and you're just trying to show off, or you're trying to just be in everyone's face. And being confident in what you have to offer, being confident in the brand, and being confident in actually your ability to take on more. Because sometimes that's something which people struggle with, because you've been beaten down so many times. Even if deep down there's a small part of you that feels you could be doing more, the environment tells you, suck it up and just do your job. Keep your head down, don't ruffle any feathers, and get paid at the end of the month and live happily ever after, which of course doesn't happen. So,
and I think, you mentioned COVID, and I think that was one thing that I noticed, with a lot of the people that I work with who are career executive and leadership coaches. I mean, that has changed the game in terms of how we work and how we help others to show up in the workplace as well. And so I think that's a huge thing to acknowledge, is that the times have changed, and it's time to be a little bit more strategic about your careers maybe than you were a few years ago, and really starting to reimagine and reinvent what your career could actually look like, rather than just sort of falling into the day-to-day and the sort of status quo, if you like, which I think is really helpful for people.
Absolutely right. And one of the things that I've seen happen a lot is also just the general change in the workplace, in the sense of we're now no longer really caring about where people sit to get their jobs done. We are caring more that they can get the job done. So in as much as the term war for talent has been thrown around a lot, and it's been around for some time, I think it's during these past 2 years that it's become even more obvious, as companies have sourced people from other countries aside from the countries in which they are domiciled. And you're finding that freelancers and people who consult or people who work on gigs are actually finding more work than those who are actually looking to go back into a sort of very formalized kind of workplace, which is not to say that either is good. It's just being aware of the changes that are happening. And as you've said, getting strategic about what works for you, because what works for me wouldn't work for you and wouldn't work for the other person, because at the end of the day, we have different goals, and we're even different people with different strengths. There are those who are amazing when they have to work remotely. There are those who need to work a lot harder to be productive remotely. And that's just the nature of work. We need to acknowledge our own strengths and our own inadequacies and flow with it and see how we can make everything work out for our good.
Yeah, I love that. And when it comes to, changes and some of these challenges and things that popped up, I love how you mentioned that, COVID you took as an opportunity for yourself in your own business to really start to step into this virtual world. And I know that you had an existing business when we started working together, and you were very much doing the face-to-face consulting, facilitation, and coaching. So What was that transition like for you in terms of some of the challenges in your own business?
So I wish I could say that I was awesome. I was perfect in the transition and I did it seamlessly, but then that would be so untrue. And anyone who met me, worked with me around that time can tell you it wasn't all roses. It was actually pretty tough because the virtual world calls for a completely different skill set. It calls for you to think differently, to respond differently, and to even just rethink how you interact and engage with people. Because, you know, when you're face to face, I can easily read your body language, I can read your cues, I can tell what you're thinking. So if I'm online, if I'm not on video, that's one less way for you to engage with me. If I am not speaking to you, that's one other thing that reduces how I actually interact and engage with you. So for me, it was, I needed to unlearn some things. I needed to relearn, and I needed to actually up my game in terms of engaging with people online, getting comfortable with technology, getting comfortable being away from people physically, and trying to use the platform, whether it's Zoom or Google Meet or Teams, to actually create that connection and engagement with people. It was a gradual journey, but I'm so happy that I made it, because that then meant that I wasn't limiting myself to just the people I could see in my country.
Yeah.
That meant I could interact and engage with clients and people from across the world, because I mean, technology means the world is limitless. You can literally do anything and everything. So it was tough when I started, and I had a few friends and people who support me, and a few coaches, such as you, Amy, just nudge me and say, okay, you need to get out of this comfort zone that you're in.
Yeah.
You need to readjust to this new world that you found yourself living in, and you need to become amazing. And most importantly, forget perfect. Because I'm a recovering perfectionist. I used to think everything needs to be exactly right before it gets rolled out.
Yeah.
But then during that transition period, I learned, 90%, 80% done is better than perfect. And in any case, people will give you feedback that will allow you to refine the program. So for example, the program I created during that time, the first cohort had a very different experience from the second, from the third, and from any future cohorts. But then that's part of the game. You get better.
Yes.
You learn more. And as long as you're remaining open to feedback, as long as you're remaining open to hearing what's actually happening in the market and on the ground, you're sure to keep growing and to keep developing yourself and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was that difference in the results for you? So what was life, I guess, like for you in business before that transition? And then once you sort of mastered those new skills, and I think unlearn is a great word that you use there, unlearning some of the habits and things that we can naturally fall into, no fault of our own, right? It's just at certain points, like I said, it's time to get out of your little comfort bubble and, let's really take this business to where it can actually be. So what was that change for you like in terms of the results in your business from there?
So for one, I was finding that now people were reaching out to me as I became more brave and as I began to be more comfortable in talking about what I was doing, the change that people were seeing, and in actually just sharing their journeys and their stories. So I was seeing more people coming into my DMs on LinkedIn, as an example. I'd seen people say, I saw this post that you shared and I thought it resonated with me. Let's have a conversation about working together. And I even at some point had this waiting list because I had too many people and the program was already full. And I'm saying, okay, I'd like to take you on this one, but it's already running. So let's talk about the next one. And that was surprising because, pandemic time, everyone said things were crazy, things were bad. But then I saw that because I embraced just that transition into an online platform and into getting more comfortable with talking about what I was doing, that I was able to serve more people and that people could sense that, they could read that, they could resonate with the messages I was sharing and that they could directly come to me. So for me, that change was confidence that I got just from doing it more and knowing that, yes, I was going to make mistakes, but they were not going to be the end. And also seeing more clients come and approach me rather than me looking frantically all over the place trying to find those clients, rather than coming to me and then having those discussions and having those conversations about whether it would be a good fit to work together.
Yeah, and that's it. And just, having those authentic conversations as if you would face to face, but then just doing it in an online way is really, really cool. And I think the key thing there is having clients come to you, because I think in the back of our mind sometimes is we don't want to be that used car salesman. We don't want to be that person that spams people's inboxes all of the time. And I love the fact that you've embraced content as part of your strategy, and have really been able to drive home some of those business results, and to be oversubscribed to your programs is just a testament of you as a person, as a business owner. And then it's just a great place to see you in versus where we first started. So I think that's really, really awesome. You should be super proud of yourself.
Thanks, Amy. And you've been an amazing part of this journey. And I like that you get LinkedIn and you are able to unpack it in a way that makes sense for someone who already even thinks they know LinkedIn. Because I thought I knew LinkedIn, and then I met you and I worked with you, and I thought, wait, I didn't even scratch the surface of what I knew about LinkedIn. There's so much more that you can actually dive into. And it's been an honor and a pleasure and an eye-opener just working with you and getting to learn even more about what the platform brings and holds and what it can actually do.
That's
awesome. I think I'd underestimated a lot of that for the longest time.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to note, is because you weren't a beginner when you started on LinkedIn. You've been using LinkedIn for many years. You had a decent, following of connections and people as well. And I think we've just been able to take that to the next level, like you said, which has now resulted in clients and sales. So I think that's been a really big shift that I've noticed in you and the work that you've done as well, which has been really, really awesome to see. And so I guess knowing what you know now, Susan, and having sort of been through some of these changes yourself, what were, I guess, maybe some advice, maybe some words of encouragement? Like, what would you say to people who are still a little bit hesitant around using online to grow their business and, say, get clients in their businesses, whether it be LinkedIn or, other platforms? Like, what would you say to them?
So I'd say to them that, yes, there might still be a place for face-to-face interactions, because every so often I'll find that client who says, do you do face-to-face sessions, or can we meet before we actually do business? Yeah. And I understand there's always going to be that. But the truth is, we've opened a door and we are probably never going to shut it again, because online technology is just keeping on moving forward and advancing even more. So for anyone who's hesitant, I'd say baby steps, but just don't say you'll never do anything and it's not for you, because I believe everyone can find a space and a place that makes sense for them online. And even if it means you start one day, one step, one post, because one of the things I know for clients that I work with, they're always like, but I don't say anything on LinkedIn, for example. I feel shy about commenting, or I feel shy about sharing my thoughts. Yeah. And I ask, okay, but you've been sharing your thoughts with me all along. What's the difference? And they say, but it's so public and it's so open. And I say, but that's good for you, because it means you become top of mind and people start to see you as the go-to person. And I think for them, that's always the light bulb moment, that they want to be known for something. Yeah. That's one of the ways they can be known for something. And because with online, you can go viral without trying, or without even knowing that you're going to go viral. You're just going about your business. Why would you want to miss out on such a huge opportunity to share your message? So I'd always say, start small and build momentum, because unless you start, you'll still find yourself in the exact same place 1 month, 3 months, 1 year down the line. Yeah. And the best time to always start would have been yesterday. But since you didn't do it yesterday, today is the day. Pick one thing and just get it done. It doesn't have to be monumental. You don't need to write a thesis. It's just you sharing as you would with a friend. Yeah. That's a great place to start, but just get started, because the longer you put it off, the longer you will take to actually be anywhere and to do anything or to achieve anything.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the online space is not going away anytime soon. if anything, it's going to get more congested. There's going to be more people, doing this. And so now is the opportune time to actually be able to stand out in your market as well, because I'm a bit of an abundant thinker, Susan. You might have picked that up, but I think that there's enough people out there for everyone in business. And so you just need to find your tribe. You just need to find the people that resonate with your message and forget the rest. Don't worry about the rest. You're not here for everyone. And so I think that's a really good thing, is not to get too overwhelmed with all of the things and just start in one small little corner and then build it out from there, one step at a time. So I think that's really, really great advice. And I think just being able to dive in before you're ready is usually the key, whether it be starting your business, building your business, whatever stage you're at. I think that's super, super important. And so I'd love to hear from you as well, Susan, around like where to from here. So you have had some pretty massive growth in your business, in that, you've really started to transition as well from the one-to-one consulting to now running your group programs, being able to have a leveraged coaching model as well, and having way too many people that want to get into those programs, which is what we call a good problem to have in business. So what does the next, say, 12 months look like for you, and where do you want to take your business from here?
So one of the things I've been having to acknowledge in the past couple of weeks is that I need a team to support. And that's actually the only way I can scale, because there's only one me, and and there are many people who would actually want me to help them. And that might not necessarily be possible, because again, I need to sleep, I need to eat, I need to have a life beyond my business.
And you've got kids and family and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have all these many other things. And if there's one thing I've come to appreciate, is that while we think we're invincible, in truth, we are not. And we are not replaceable, true, but your business can actually survive without you if you have the right systems and structures in place. So for me, the next 12 months is just setting up those systems and structures that allow me to scale, that allow me to bring on board a team to support me, so that I'm able to be more present for my clients. I'm able to continue designing and developing other programs that will help people even more. Yeah. And if there's one thing that is near and dear to my heart, is always helping people learn and helping people grow no matter where they are at. So for me, being able to get a team on board would help me help more people, and would help me help more people across wherever they are at on their journey, because then I'd have support. And support, I think, is one of the best things that anyone can ever get for their business, because it frees up time, but at the same time, it helps them scale.
Absolutely. And you're so right. It's about being able to make that impact and be able to help more people at the end of the day. Sometimes, it's great. $1 million in the bank is also great in your business, with people that want to build 7-figure businesses, 8-figure businesses. But it's also about the fulfillment you get from that too. So it's also about being able to impact more people, help more people, so that they can get unstuck, like you were as well in the beginning of your career, and being able to really help those banking professionals, which I think is awesome. So I'm curious to know, Susan, like being a part of the In-Demand Coach program, and I know we've worked on a whole bunch of different things along the way in your journey to help you actually, make more in less time and be able to have your group programs oversubscribed now. What was sort of maybe like one or two major things where, looking back, you think, okay, well, that really made a difference to my business, and maybe some of the differences that you've noticed? Because I know you've been a part of different business group coaching programs before, and, I'm not the first person that's come across you and said, hey, I can probably help you grow your business. So what was it that was different about this program, and I guess a couple of the things that you really took away from it?
So two main takeaways sort of stick out for me, and that's the first one is just about clarity. And you said this earlier, that we have an abundance mentality, meaning we understand that, yes, in as much as there are many people out there who want to be helped, we can't help everyone, and we don't help everyone. There's our tribe out there, and we just need to find them. Yes. So just that clarity around who's your tribe, who's my tribe, who do I want to help, and how do I help them, and just tightening that messaging around it. Yeah. Because in as much as I had been on LinkedIn, in as much as, like you've said, I've been in a few other programs, I'd always thought, if you can be broad, yay for you, because hey, if net 1 doesn't work, you can capture net 2, net 3, net 4, but you end up spreading yourself so thin, and people cannot quickly off the top of their mind say, oh, okay, so you're looking for a career coach and you're in banking, talk to Susan. And now I've seen people reach out and say, hey, I know you help banking professionals. I'm looking for a career coach for banking professionals. So just that clarity around who I serve has really made a difference for me. And also being able to speak to them in their language in a way that resonates with them has been a major takeaway for me out of the program. And just being able to design content around that in a way that connects with them, in a way that engages them, and also in a way that invites them to work with me if we are a fit to work together. So for me, that's one of the big takeaways, just that clarity around my tribe and how to actually reach them and how to engage them. The other one has been about the confidence that I've gotten out of the program, because like-minded professionals, other career coaches, or even just coaches and consultants within the program who are at different stages, and they have wonderful experiences to share, and just being able to sharpen one another, being in a safe environment where people can actually share, and people who can actually give tips, they can give advice, they can actually encourage each other on those days when things are not going as well as they should. Because let's be honest, it's again not always a sunny day. There are days when it feels like it's raining, and other days when it feels like it's snowing. So it helps to actually have somebody else who's in the same growing space and who is also like-minded just support you and help you through. And of course, you play a big part in just that, pushing a little bit in saying, hey, Susan, I think you're underpricing yourself there. I think you're selling yourself short. What would it take, or what would you need to think about? And there's something that you've said many times, and I think it was one of the things that stuck out for me when I first joined the program. Normalize success. It's okay to be successful. And there are these messages we are always telling ourselves, there are these stories we've always told ourselves based on experiences, based on our upbringing. For whatever reason, we tell ourselves a story, and that story actually becomes a saboteur because it doesn't help you. Instead, it holds you back from everything that you could actually do. And it holds you back from actually offering all the value that you can offer. Or you offer the value, but then you end up resenting the people you're serving, because deep down you feel that you're not being valued. Yet it's you who did it to yourself. By making success this abnormal thing that is wrong. And yet there's nothing wrong with being successful. We should be successful. We should work hard and reap the benefits of our hard work, and be confident about what it is we can offer, and make no apologies for it. So for me, those two big ones, just that clarity and just that confidence around what I was offering, and the fact that success is normal, and it's a good thing.
You are 100% right. And I've loved watching your journey. I think one of the things that really stood out about you, Susan, is the fact that you just followed the process. You did it, no questions asked. Like, you just asked for the help when you needed it. You kept moving through. You got out of your own way, and now you're reaping the rewards. So I think you've done an amazing job through the program. And for anyone that's listening to this who might be on the fence about whether they think it's the right thing for them or not, what would your advice be to them? And please be as honest as you want, even though I'm here. No pressure.
So I think sometimes we are the worst at discovering when we actually need help. And my advice is, what you've been doing so far isn't working. Get over yourself and get support. Because you can only do so far, and you can only do so much and only go so far on your own. At some point, you need somebody to actually push you a lot harder than you'd ever push yourself, because we forgive ourselves for many things. So we say we push, but the truth is we don't push ourselves as hard sometimes as we ought to. But somebody else who is outside of our situation, who has no stake in it, they are neutral to the whole business, can actually point out a lot that you've been missing out on, or a lot that you've been avoiding because you thought it was hard or because it was going to push you out of your comfort zone. So you've gotten as far as you can on your own. Get support for the next step because you probably need it if you're going to see any growth or if you're going to go in the direction that you actually want to go. And it's okay to need help because no one's perfect and everybody has their strength. So if your strengths have brought you this far, it's time to bring on a partner who can take you even farther than you have ever gotten on your own or you'd have ever gotten your own. And I think the most important bit is asking yourself, how quickly do you actually want to see success? Because on your own, you could probably follow the steps and get there in 5 years. Yeah. But imagine how much farther and faster you'd get if you were with someone whose sole purpose is to help you accelerate your growth. I'd imagine 6 months or even less is a better number than 5 years. And imagine how many times you could have grown over in those 5 years while you're trying to do it on your own. And yet you could find someone who easily helps you, like the in-demand coach program, in getting it done in a much shorter time than 5 years. 5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
A lot could happen in 5 years. Yeah.
We don't have time for that. No, I love that. I would rather see people actually getting to live their success rather than just dreaming about it. And so that's the whole goal of the program is, I think having the community as well is just such an aspect of that. And I think I just wanted to acknowledge you for your input into that community as well, because I think that you are a major player in helping other people in the community as well. And I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. And I really look forward to continuing to support you in your business as well. For those that are listening to this who might just happen to be a banking professional who is feeling a little bit stuck in their career, is really looking for that clarity, is really looking to take that next step in their career, whatever that might look like for them, where can they reach you? Where's the best way to contact you?
I hang out on LinkedIn, so send me a message on LinkedIn. Send me a message on LinkedIn or a connection request just with a small note telling me, hey, I listened to your video interview with Amy and let's talk about my banking career. So LinkedIn, best place to find me.
Awesome. Right answer.
Yep.
No, that's great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Susan. I really appreciate it. I think anyone listening to this will learn a lot just from your own experiences and your journey.
Yeah, and thanks, Amy, for giving of yourself and actually testing out a lot of the stuff that you then share with those people who are going through the program or who are working with you, whether that's a one-on-one basis or who get to listen to you in the different forums, because there's a lot. But you package it in a way that makes it so easy to follow through, and you're there cheering us on every step of the way. So thanks a lot, Amy.
Thank you so much, Susan.